Hello, today is your day to actually wake up to hope at the table of redemption. We are in season 1, building bridges of hope and redemption in crises.
We're in part 3, Global Voices in Leadership on Resilience, Faith, and Transformation.
Today's guest, Kazembe Abif, affectionately called my baby brother, former professional basketball star and thought leader and servant leader for the Black community. I am truly excited about my next guest, Kazembe Abif. He is a colleague of mine at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and he is one of the profound thought leaders of his day. And I'm so excited to be here with him. He is going to give us an inside scoop on his article that he wrote for the Harvard Graduate School of Education recently. And it is entitled Pivoting Towards Youth. And when you meet Abif, which I also call my baby brother, you're going to be able to gauge how tough this might have been for him from one realm of his career to the other. So I really would love to delve into this and looking at the magnitude of what it took him to pivot, and then through the lens of redemption, how should we be pivoting? So to you, Kazembe, tell me, so what brings you to the table of redemption?
What brings me here is honestly God. I think our connection when we first met, even before we started classes, it was just an instant draw and just the amazement of your story, and just in that time meeting you, and like it gave me that feeling of like this is Harvard, like just hearing your story of being able to found a school and have that kind of transpire. One, our connection was instant, but it brought me here because I feel honestly God brought you in my life and brought our life and our connection and our experience, and our faith that brought us together throughout our journey in Harvard. And I'm just glad to really be here, glad to really just dive deep and connect with you, and just talk.
Excellent. That sounds like a good enough reason to me, honey. So, so as we get into your life, and your legacy, you're leaving at an early age. And when we talk a lot about Black men, Black excellence as well, when we talk about superior excellence, I think that you are one of the faces that we should be looking at constantly when it comes to that. You have this wisdom or this acumen that draw me to you as well. So it wasn't a one-way street. So like when he talks about our connection, it really was a connection from day one. I call him my baby brother. And when I'm calling him my baby brother, but he like way taller, like he way up there. He looked my height right now, but he way up there. Because when we together, he'll hug me. His arms come here. His arms come to my shoulders. So as I invited him here, it was to really get his way of thinking, his beautiful lens to just share with us his world. So I want to get right into his article, and he can just delve into what he would like for us to know more about. But when you find the article, you're going to go to Harvard Graduate School of Education page, and you'll be able to find his name. And the article is entitled Pivoting Towards Youth, Following a Successful Professional Basketball Career in Europe and Canada, Master Student Kazembe Abif is building a new set of skills. And my favorite part of it says that the student athlete who had worked hard to help his high school basketball team win 2 championships happily accepted a scholarship from Drexel University in Pennsylvania, where he would be close enough to home for his family to be able to come see him play. After receiving a bachelor's in sports management with his brilliant self and a master's degree in hospitality with his extra brilliant self, Abif signed a contract to play for a team a little further afield, a top-tier professional league in Germany. For about the next 7 years, he played in several professional European basketball teams and in Canada. So when the time came to pivot, which is what we're talking about, away from professional basketball, Abif decided to turn to something else that he was passionate about, working with youth. He quotes says, "I always felt it was important to give back." He says, "We have to lift as we climb." And that is the most important part of meeting Kazembe, because he does that without having to lift a finger necessarily. He does that. So, Kazembe, can you tell me what inspired you when you even wrote this article? What, like, when you were even approached to write this article, and then when you decided to put this particular content together, what were you going through, or what was your idea behind it, and what wisdoms do you want to shed?
So with this article, so I was speaking at an open house at Hugsy, and really what it was a panel, and really it was to the newcomers. And this was kind of like the 1 year later from the day that we met. Um, and speaking up there and just kind of telling my story to them, and just telling them like how this 1 year, kind of like just sitting in your seats, that just 1 year ago, kind of like I've been changing and transforming, and how much of a community feel this was. So after that, the communications team kind of reached out to me and said that they wanted to do a feature article on me, and kind of like get a grasp of myself to shed in light. So we did like a kind of like an interview that kind of was put together in a photo shoot, kind of trying to uh, just leave a mark, leave a legacy. And that's kind of like the first thing I thought when they reached out to say let's put something together. Was I'm like, this is can be something like an article, an artifact that my family, that like that the legacy of my name can kind of just, cement myself a little bit. And and that was kind of like, I need to grasp this moment. And I'm like, this is something that God kind of like just puts me in blessed moments, blessed situations. Um, and it's been that feeling, just because I follow in the footsteps of others who come before us. I know that the hard work that my family, generations before me and generations before me, have this opportunity. So even coming from our background, being raised in Newark, New Jersey, is just like the inspiration that it gives to others, and other youth, or even people who look like me,
Yeah.
can be at Harvard University, and now have that, just like that experience and that lens to see things from a different perspective. But I kind of always like knew God had something big for me. I just could never have imagined like my path, or this is like a story that um that like I just could never draw out. And that's one thing as well too. Like I've met so many people like in this community, here at Harvard, with you and just with others, like have done amazing things, and like all our paths have led us to this point at our lives at this time, to be able to connect, continue to build. Just me even being in Boston, and just building a new community here. That's just a total different experience. But I have been blessed to uh, see many different experiences. And like sometimes I feel like even you and others like say I have so much wisdom, is because I feel like I've lived like so many different lives, and just how I even read. I'm just like, these are just chapters kind of in your book to kind of tell your story and things like that. So I look at it from that artistic lens as well. And that's just kind of like all goes back like to my upbringing, and it just, yeah, it's kind of great. I just felt overwhelmed and joyful.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the humility that you bring to this, because when people watch this and then go online and read about all that you have done, they're like, he just downplaying this thing. Okay, so don't just be right there. I'm about to blow this up real quick. Okay,
Um,
so When you look up, listen, people, when you look up Kazembe Abif, I think he like 2 weeks away from his own Wikipedia page. Like his accomplishments at, do you mind telling people how old you are?
I'm 32 right now. 32.
And he already lived like two, three other lives before, like so much wisdom. So I want to delve into the part of the article. Can you help us land or paint the picture through your artistic lens between pivoting the art of it between the basketball and the youth? Because did you, when you were pivoting, you took basketball with you to the youth, or is this youth? Is this mentoring? What is this that you do with the song "Boots on the Ground"?
Everything,
Okay.
mentoring, training, strength and conditioning, different sports. It's like just being involved. I was a kid who was in a ton of different things, playing different sports. I was swimming. I played everything. I've played lacrosse in high school for
Mm.
years. Just trying things and pushing myself to learn new things and experience different cultures and this goes back to like even I went to boarding school, so kind of like from an educational just upbringing, mine was kind of different than most people. I feel like, well, my father was a librarian, was a
Okay.
children's librarian, so I was able to just always I was always reading and always thinking about exploring and always going places in the world because I would be able to read about them at a young age and always do some exploring. So I always knew I kind of wanted to uh travel and have an impact and make a touch different places. That was always my goal. I never like uh kind of uh I didn't even want to play basketball in college until my senior year.
Wow.
I wanted to I was gonna play football, I think, but just the blessings and being able to connect. And there's small kind of experiences that I've had in my life that kind of connected sports just with me learning life lessons and going on the road traveling. I was able to do AAU basketball. I was flying to Florida, Tennessee, California, Arizona, all over with my friends, building that bond, that brotherhood, and was able to just kind of continue to work hard and use that ethic. And making sure those moments and those now being older and an adult, thinking about the men who were making those sacrifices to
Mm.
do that from going away from their families. Like, if who do you think's taking the kids, like flying 13, 14 boys down to Florida, and even making it a family environment. I remember like doing that and having my family was always at my games, always, and other people's families as well. So it was just a community feeling. And I know that there was even some of my teammates who might not have had that, but my parents kind of like, and these adults, these coaches have had that impact that I will always remember vividly, like throughout my life. Um, I now that I'm in that stage and I have to it's only right. It's just kind
Yeah.
of like that circle of completion and making sure that you're able to pass my wisdom on to others and my experiences and especially in a time where they're trying to rip education away from us and hide our history. So it just makes me even more prideful and wanting to connect with the youth and making sure that they understand how powerful they are, that they are our future. And myself, I'm still fairly young, and but I remember just I wasn't that it wasn't that long ago that I remember winning those state championships with my teammates in high school or playing in college or winning a professional championship in Europe. It's like I don't ever want to be disconnected from the youth because
Mm.
you can't continue to grow as a person if you're kind of stuck in your ways as well. You have
Mm.
to listen and those voices because my family kind of instilled in me that my voice was powerful and impactful when I was young. So I want to make sure that others kind of can speak their mind and that their kind of vision of life it can come true, and that there's people who have done these things and been these places who are here to help you, like myself, to kind of guide you and help you in any which way I can. So it's just kind of like filling my heart because and giving back, because I know that there's so many people who've made sacrifices
Mm.
and who still continue to make sacrifices, and these children need it are at this point in our lifetime. Like, one, we need strong Black men to be present and bold and be able to be seen, so that our youth knows that, and that this is how you should be and how you can be. I think there's Black men have always been present, and there, whatever which way the media might um make misconceptions or whatever systematic oppressions against us to kind of disrupt that Black family. We want to make sure that our youth and our men, no matter what ages or stages we are in life, because it's a blessing. I hope to be able to see 40. I hope to be able to see 50, 60, 70, 80. I'm also very connected with the elderly too. I hang out with them on bi-weekly basis and pick up the phone, call, and these like my fraternity brothers who who are 70 something years old, 80 something years old, still finding that time because they're doing it for
Yeah.
me, pouring into me, telling me stories about how things were and all the amazing things and what it was like being the first Black man at Dartmouth Business School,
Mm.
like, and things like that, and me just trying to make sure I'm kind of carrying on that legacy, and me hearing those stories and is what's kind of pushing me to keep going forward too and keep planting my seed, but watching others and planting seeds for others and watching us grow together, because that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. It's about us flourishing together.
Yes.
You can't be a forest or jungle is mighty. Can't be one
Mm.
tree there. That's no
Mm.
forest. We need everybody to be strong and to be standing firm, and continuing to carry out the joy, carry out the happiness, of, what we're really meant to do in serving our purpose and serving God's purpose.
Yeah. This is pretty powerful. I want to pick out a few things that you talked about. I got chills when you helped me paint the picture of all the people who make it possible for you, but they leave in their families to do that. And for years, that's what I did with Legacy School of Performing Arts, with the Carnegie Hall projects. My career portfolio will be coming out soon, but I never thought about it the way you put it. And that's why you're such a powerful person. And I think that's why God would choose you to have this platform. He not only chooses you, Abif, he trusts you to be able to pass the buck the right way. You also talked about boarding school. I want to piggyback on that as well to get more insight on that. You'll be the first person I've ever talked to that has gone to boarding school. Everybody else I know they teach at a boarding school. The impact of that on pivoting, the impact of being able to pivot when you know that it's been done for you, legacy passing or succession planning. And number three, your article talks about the youth groups that you're helping to develop, like Prove Them Wrong basketball training program and the gathering. So with what I'm just saying to you just now, are you able to just pick out something that I said and just expound on it, to help give us a sharper lens into what makes you the go-to person on this particular matter?
Absolutely. Um, and yeah, my life is just full of connections. So I love just how I'm to even kind of combine all those. So with my educational upbringing, I went to a kind of like an all Black private school in Newark where we wore shirt and tie every day, and that kind of and that school, what it did was it showed youth opportunities outside of the normal different public schools. So it kind of pushed for students to go to these boarding schools, these private New England boarding schools or independent day schools that they have like in the just in the area in New Jersey. So we would go on these tours and like in fifth, sixth grade, I knew about boarding schools because I would hang out with some of my the older seventh, eighth graders. They're going on trips. They're taking trips to these boarding schools. They're going up to Phillips Exeter, going up to St. Paul's, visiting Lawrenceville, visiting Blair, Westminster, all these different type of places. So I think that it's that kind of opened my eyes, and even seeing things at an early age of in me also wanting that and seeing others. So even when it was my time in seventh, eighth grade, um, to go on these trips and meet people. There was people there I knew, other people I've went to school with, so they're giving me the tours on campus. They're able to give me like a kind of, from the athlete perspective, what is it like here? How do you like this and things like that. And when once I got to boarding school, like I knew, and even having my parents trust me. A lot of people. So if I'm 12 years old, I'm telling my family like, hey, I want to move away to a different state, right? I'm going to move away to a different state. I'm going to live there, and then I'll see you guys when I see you. So it was, you know, navigating that, but having that trust or even knowing me to be able to do that. And while I was there, I was just exposed to a whole different world. Again, I grew up in a predominantly black city. It's black and Latino. Um, and then going there, it was not too many black people at all. Population small and things like that. Most of us are athletes and things like that. So now I'm in Connecticut, whole different world. Now I'm learning about crew, learning about lacrosse. People are like hockey. We're like I never like I love hockey. Like hockey game.
Really?
Stanley Cup Finals are going on right now. One, the Florida Panthers looking like they're gonna win it again this year, back to back. Having a school that kind of made you do try different things,
Wow.
different each kind of like during the fall, the winter, the spring. So my freshman year, I had to play a sport. And my friends, I saw all these kids walking around with these sticks, like just throwing I'm like, yo, this is cool. And then learning more about like, oh, Jim Brown was an All-American uh, at Syracuse playing lacrosse. This is actually a native indigenous sport,
Jim
that
Brown played
you can play.
lacrosse?
Yeah, he was
Really?
excellent. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
hmm Yeah, it was crazy, like learning history and like just even be able like throughout high school, seeing others, who kind of look like me and learning the history and how things connect. I'm like, this is cool, like and being able to have that lens and see how other people live and things like that. So when I'm working with the youth through one with for instance like basketball training and the whole lens through sports, I've been able to be fortunate enough to play with hundreds of people from all over the world, collegiately or in these countries. Like I have people on my team from South Africa, Lithuania, Portugal, Germany, all over the world, coming together, and every day we're building that bond, and things like that. And being able to understand that with even language barriers or doesn't matter. We're people, and being able to make that connection. And over there, continuing to even work with their youth and with their youth programs over in Europe, and just helping their young youth over there train and be able to really look up to us. And they say, hey, we got to play with a professional basketball player, and seeing themselves in us, having my face on like billboards and things like that over in different countries, and seeing how connected the youth was to me. And like that's always been um a gift that I've had. people have always been like kind of like drawn to me, like young kids look up to me, and even older folks have been able to draw and impact people. So it's something that kind of is enrichment it, to my heart, you know. And so as I've kind of settled in Boston now, I need to define, or just even pivoting from playing professional basketball now, you know, I'm like, what's next? You know, every day you're kind of thinking and just seeing so many of even my old teammates or so many athletes have such a hard transition. Um,
Yes.
going identities, your persona. This is something you've done for like 20, 30 years at this point. And this is kind of like, you know, who you built your on this people when they know you for and things like that. And kind of finding something that you are just as passionate about and something that can connect you, something that you want to wake up and give you that same feeling that, hey, we're about to go. We got a game. It's game day. You know,
Yes.
now every day of my life, I look at as game day. I wake up and like, oh, it's time to go.
Say it
Um,
again. Say it again. Every day you look at what now?
every day I wake up, I look at it as game day. It's another, God has blessed me another day of life to get better, to make an impact to people, to uh, leave things better than they were yesterday, and as much as I can. Um, so, and just like those have, all those people have kind of, you know, impacted me and kind of molded me into the person I am. Their legacy lives on through me.
Yeah.
And I want my legacy to live on through others. I
Mhm.
want to make that deep impact with those. And I've been able to do that. So I've even with kind of transitioning to moving to a new city with my fiance, not like being from Boston, deciding to come to Boston. And I was debating, I was at a time where I'm praying to God every day. I'm like, what is my next thing? Because I was planning on, I had, you know, offers to go back and play professionally, was
Mm.
transitioning to my 30s now too. And I was a person who always knew like, I always used basketball as a tool um to get to and never kind of let basketball use me.
Ooh.
Uh I knew like even before I started even playing professional basketball, I knew I wanted to, you know, get in my master's degree and was able to accomplish that. So even already having that to where even if this opportunity doesn't go through, um, you know, or I don't have an opportunity to continue my career athletically, hey, at least educationally, I have this foundation I can go into, you know, look at the world as my oyster
Mhm.
and still connect those together. Um, so just going through that kind of transition and praying. One thing I've always did though, was kind of prepare myself by working with the youth when I came back during the summer. So year to year for two reasons. One, I work out every day. Like, you know, I wake up in the morning, work out and keep my routine for working out, but I would have time during the day and I would want to kind of make an impact, whether that be working at a camp or like as like a youth director at a campus sports director here. So, and I also wanted to make sure that when it was time to pivot to my next career, my resume just wouldn't say all I was doing the last 6, 7 years of my life was just playing basketball, you
Awesome.
know? So I was continuing to kind of build those things each year, making those different connections and meeting people in different places.
Mhm.
So when it was time for me to pivot, I kind of even had that. And I knew, prayed on it, and I knew this opportunity working with the youth, with community schools in the city of Boston with the YMCA. It was just
Mhm.
a pilot position. So they already told me, like, even when signing up, like, hey, there's an end date. This is a pilot thing. It's new. It's a new strategy. We're trying to build it out. Um, but let's get we got boots on the ground and let's work together to do this. So, you know, there was a point where I'm just like, I didn't even know, you know, if I would have that job and, you know, and things worked out. But it was always I had that love and found that passion to get up and like I can impact youth in different ways, and finding meeting new people and different connections, um and then like working with Prove Them Wrong Association, which is a basketball and mentoring
Mhm.
company, which I was able to meet the good brother Deshaun Gibbons, who and that was again, I used to I would try to find different jobs and meet connections with people while I was still playing professional overseas. So I was able to meet him, and was able to train during the summer, meet these guys, and still be able to follow up with the youth and things. So when I came back, I was able to easily flow into that. Now it's been years, and this year was able to, have my young mentees from Prove Them Wrong play at Harvard University for a
Wow.
halftime show. You know,
Really? Tell me about that. I didn't know about it. I know you bought the guy for one, that ski trip that you took some of the cohort, some of the colleagues on with the
yeah,
youth. And
yeah,
then you brought the kids to campus.
yeah.
Was that the same time or was
Yes.
was that the same thing or was that a third thing that you
No, this is all no, so this is it. I look at it all in one. I have so many, like, the way I look at life is just how can I connect things? That's
did?
just how my mind works.
Hmm.
So I'm a student at Harvard. I was a professional athlete. Why wouldn't I try to bring the people who I'm working with, training on a weekly basis, these kids who y'all y'all know y'all know on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock what time it is. Well, y'all know how y'all need to come in this gym and
Hmm.
and raise that intensity level.
Yeah.
So when those lights was bright, when that ball got thrown up and playing in front of 1,000 people on a Division I court at 10 years old, those boys were hooping,
Wow.
came out balling. I was so proud. I was just like proud and enlightened and be able to hear that. And I know that experience, like, that's something they'll remember for the rest of their lives, you
Yeah.
know? And things like that. I think, like, even you mentioned the ski trip. I took my youth from the gathering. So I've been working with kind of the gathering, which is a academic program through Boston Public Schools. And we kind of formed it with the with one of my fellow colleagues, Jermaine Tulloch, who was kind of who had resources but needed help, like kind of molding this program. It was brand new,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
getting off the ground. And I'm like, I have, this is stuff I love to do. Let's get
Mhm.
to work. Bringing in my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi,
Hey.
Fraternity Incorporated. One of our,
Said, bring it,
one
Lord, bring it in.
Well, like, um, we have one of our mandated programs is fatherhood and mentoring.
Oh.
So this is easy. I'm bringing my fraternity brothers. Hey, we have one of our mandated program. One of our mandated programs is Achievement Week. So we celebrate um the the achievement of just founding of the fraternity, but also just Black men and the legacy of others that came before us. And me bringing them, that was the week I brought them to campus. I brought them to Harvard University. These mentees, who same mentees who I'm taking to NASA down in
Mm,
Florida, so that they can meet astronauts and that they can
mm,
see that, hey, you can be an engineer. These are the different types of things you need to do. Going on HBCU tours, bringing in
yeah.
my fraternity with that. I'm bringing this group of young men. We went to visited Howard University, University of District of Columbia, Coppin State, Bowie State. Bringing them, calling my fraternity brothers at those schools, like, hey, I'm bringing some of my mentees. Coming on a 8-hour bus ride from Boston, show us around, and really give them that experience, and making sure that they can see themselves and have that authentic experience, that they can also connect youth, me connecting with through my fraternity, being able to connect with people on campus. They're 20 years old, 21 years old. there might be an age gap in difference, but through this fraternity and brotherhood, if I pick up the phone, they're gonna answer to continue to do things and connect and build. And these might be some of the students who now next year they might be applying to these colleges
Mm,
and seeing that,
mm,
um, going there and visiting on this trip that we also visit the museum, the African American Museum, where
mm,
that they're able to just walk and see through their legacy from top to bottom.
mm.
Um, I'm like, we don't need a guided tour. I'm your tour guide.
I
You
know
know,
that's
I
right.
can talk. I can talk. Like this is our story. Y'all need to understand this. And as we're walking through and things of just, I'm like, do you know, like like the impact that your city of Boston has had. Like, have you heard of Phyllis Wheatley? They didn't know who Phyllis Wheatley was. You know, I'm like, she's, from Boston, and they such a brilliant mind that these men could not believe that a black woman could write and speak so elegantly at this
Mm,
time and being able to question that. And they're like, Mr. Biff, they don't teach us this. And I'm like, I know. And this is because this is why I'm here. This is why you're here in this moment
mm,
to get this, because everything that they're not learning and understanding, that there's only so much that they even want you to learn, and that and that we know is just even educators that the system wants you to know and not know. They didn't know about who Prince Hall was, and who found it when it comes to fraternities, and understand that Prince Hall is from Boston and started black fraternities, back in the 1700s here, because and that's a legacy. They walk past the Prince Hall masonry, in their communities, and just don't understand these connections, don't understand the history of like the power of the Nation of Islam has had on the black communities, and who these other figures were. So being able to give them that experience and for them to be able to see and connect with these community groups,
mm,
that I'm trying to bring in to have these same impact, to make sure that these young men are molded, and young ladies as well, because it's us as black men and black fathers to be present and grow our community and be the leaders and focal points of that, and make sure that we're exposing our youth and ourselves. What I do for the youth, I like to do for my same community. Like, I took the young men on a ski trip. 22 of them went skiing, learned how to ski for the first time. But I remember I was fortunate enough to have experiences through my school when I was young to go on ski trips. But this
mm,
is something that they haven't done, and they're 16 and 17. I was doing this at a younger age. But
mm,
it's only right that if I can find the funding and make these connections and write grants and bring in these different organizations, and to make sure that our youth are seeing these things and that they're tangible. But not only just the youth, but adults as well. I was able to I had a with with my connections to Harvard and just my people, I made sure that we went on a trip where I took, black grad students from MIT and Harvard and D9 organizations, in for a Black History Month tour to the same resort out in the Berkshires. The place, the area that W.E.B. Du Bois is from.
Ooh,
The first black graduate of a
say it
PhD
again. Say it
from
again.
Harvard University. So how we have all these people coming from all over the world, all these different places, be like, hey, while you're here, at least imagine growing up out here in the Berkshires, out in Western Massachusetts in the early 1900s, and how different life was. I wanted people to actually see that and experience that, making sure that it's strategically done during Black History Month to connect people to Carter G. Woodson, and understanding who was the second uh black person to graduate with a PhD from Harvard University, but also is the founder of Black History Month. And a member of my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So making sure connecting people from the Divine Nine, connecting people from Harvard University, connecting people from the community to have that same experience that I'm able to bring to the youth as well. So doing the same, we're going on same run it. We need to experience, just because and I had 32 adults first time skiing on that trip.
Dang.
and making sure I'm bringing our community, because why? It doesn't matter what age. And I had one of my fraternity brothers who's 75 years old. He was on a trip with his skis, like and so yeah, this is connecting, like, and understanding that we need to cherish our intergenerations as well, like to understand, like, if your grandparents are here, if your great grandparents are here, if you're able to ask them and connect with them, or just older people or different people, to hear their stories, listen to their stories, take time to grow, because that knowledge that you're absorbing from them, that needs to be passed on.
Mm.
I'm not a gatekeeper of knowledge. I am a vessel for others to use it. I told all my friends back home, my family, once I got that acceptance letter to Harvard, I said, we got into Harvard. They done let us into Harvard. So you know how, like, we're all the knowledge and working full time and being in school full time, I was able to implement this past year, able to implement things in real time, kind of using things that I'm learning in class, um, to my everyday connections, and kind of really, like, and having that. I think that even kind of, like, even expedited, like, my thinking of a timeline, and just like, no, this can be done now.
Yeah.
Like, where sometimes, like, people might, like, stop from work, and now they're going back to kind of implement the work and things like
Mhm.
that. Me being every day, I can go from class and talk to the the executive director of the biggest family engagement community, in the country, and then go to my family engagement meeting the next day, and tell them, this is what the up-to-date thing, this is how we can do this is how we can build more community, this is
Yeah.
how we can listens to more students' voices, and making sure that their young voices are heard, and it's not just older people kind of dictate what they think they should know, or what they think they should learn. How about we listen to their voices? Because these young men, these young women are gonna be our future leaders. When we're older, they're gonna be the ones making these political decisions. These are gonna be the judges, the civil servants, all of that. They're our leaders,
Yeah.
and those legacies that others um don't really get to see or live out. And that just, like, I just pause, because I'm just thinking a lot of men don't get to live out their full lives, and understanding, like, that time. I don't take time for granted. Like, so many, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, that nothing's promised.
Mm.
Fred Hampton, that
Mhm.
been a lot of other um great people who've come before us,
Mhm.
that their legacy gets cut short, or that they don't get to see old age, and I know that, like, me even knowing where I come from, or even seeing past 21, is a blessing. So understanding that, really just, looking every day as game day, and making sure that I can leave that imprint, and have people have that mindset in whichever way they need to, whatever you need to do, whether that's making sure that you're good internally, spiritually.
Yeah.
You Our class that we took this past semester, with Dr.
Urban
Irwin Scott,
Scott.
like, he being able to connect education and faith and leadership.
Mhm.
Me visiting, in one of the assignments, being able to go to a different place of faith. I was able to meet with men of different faith, and
Mhm.
connect with them, and build with them, and make sure I'm taking things
Mhm.
away from every situation, because no matter how young, no matter how old somebody is, no matter what race, religion, or creed, you can always learn
Mhm.
from them,
Yeah.
and you want to exchange knowledge with them. That's how things live on. There'll be a time where maybe things will go crazy, and they're banning books. This is,
Mhm.
like, I can't even say that they're banning books. So there won't be, you can't say, like, or trust that um things will always be able to be written down, and history
Mm,
is written by the the people who won the war. It doesn't mean everything you read is accurate, and that goes back
absolutely.
to our oral traditions as Black people, to make sure that these stories and that um these tools and these ideas, and making sure the knowledge gets passed down,
Yeah.
because whether I'm here physically or not, the young men that I'm impacted, they're able to carry on the work. They're able to say, "Oh, I know how to do this." We got the charter bus. We went to them, call up the place, and showing them and
Hmm.
putting them in leadership roles as well. Next month, I'm taking young men to Detroit for an
Wow.
international youth leadership conference. My fraternities have it in Detroit. So there's a international youth leadership conference where we're taking young men from Boston. They're able to meet young men from all over the world, where
Mm,
they're being brought in from Texas, Florida, California, and able to connect and form that, and be able to learn how to network and build things from that, and having a next day STEM conference, but
mm,
also making sure it's fun, making sure that they can, see the Motown Museum, making sure that they can and see and touch these tangible things that and no matter what they envision and reimagine what um you know not only urban education looks like, but us as a people, and what utopia kind
mm.
of looks like, and making sure that it becomes a reality, because my wildest dreams, I've lived that. I feel like I've lived multiple lives in our in
Yes.
this time already, and I don't
Yeah.
take that for granted.
Hmm.
So it's like my wildest dreams have come true, and I'm living them
Yeah.
every day. I don't have a dream job or want a dream title. I just want God to use me to impact people and build connections, and
Hmm.
be able to leave a legacy
Mm.
for others, and hopefully I'm able to do that for a long time.
Yeah. This is excellent. Now let's get into one. Name your fiance. What's her name?
Monet,
Yeah, what's her
my
whole name, honey?
Monet Brathwaite. Yeah,
Honey,
she.
because that's a part of the pivoting, honey. So we can't, that's really important to me. So,
Oh,
because
for sure.
we just
So yeah, no,
celebrated, yeah, me and my husband just celebrated 20 years of marriage, and I don't know how I could have done it without his influence in the pivots, because people pay the price for pivoting. People pay the price for our pivoting. And another thing I loved when I'm looking at you is how you came alive when we're talking about giving back. Because a lot of people just, it's just lip service,
yeah.
or it's just something to make sure they reconcile their conscience. And it's so different when you actually live this thing for real. Like this is like who you are. Like, and I love when you said every day is game day. So that's gonna be one of my takeaways. And you're helping me also appreciate some history, because in 1999, 2000, I became the national queen for the Prince Hall Mason,
Mm,
the national queen. So I was Miss Jetta Temple in court at the local level. Then I won the state level. Then I won the national level. And that level is the level that Vanessa Williams won right before she became Miss America.
mm.
And so right before I got on here with you, I was
Look,
just
that's
typing
it.
that
That's
up.
history right there.
And that's right here in Boston. I didn't know that. So like you are a well of knowledge. So my final question is, what are you leaving this table of redemption? Or what are you leaving on the table? Anything that you have unresolved that you next time we interview you, because there'll be a next time that we're gonna say we're gonna check back in, or anything, any encouragement words you have for me as well as I continue this journey um, of creating this path for others to share their story through the lens of redemption.
I want to I want to leave on the table with you is, know that your impact and what you're doing now is powerful. Being able to even create a platform. And you've done so many amazing things in your story. I think that know that you are rare, that you are special, and have that full belief in yourself to continue to keep going. Everything that I'm saying and sharing, I want for you to have it fill your heart, because I felt that the day we first connected, and I've been able to share that, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that journey and having that privilege to be a part of this journey with you. I want to, leave with others to know that we're the type of people to want to experience that journey with you as well. We're people who are with the people. We're for
Yeah.
the people. This is not like, I want everybody to know that it takes all of us, that we have to grow together, and we have to have that mindset. It starts in your mindset and understanding that you may have to make sacrifices for others because others have made sacrifices for you.
Yeah.
And that it's just a circle. We have to make sure that we continue to pour into each other, and what you pour in to others is what you'll receive, and have that, and try to live by that. So I just want to also leave how grateful I am to be honored, to do this, to be a part of this, to be able to share a part of myself, and it's truly been a privilege.
Yes, yes. Well, it has been so gracious. Before I get off, we haven't said enough about your mother. We haven't said enough about her. I know we talked about your dad as a children's librarian. We always got more time to honor. We always got more time to honor. We talked about Monique, and y'all don't be getting up here.
Monet, Monet.
Monet, don't get up here and then inbox him because honey, he already taken. I'm just telling you right now, honey. You don't want nobody to scratch your eyes out about my baby
Not,
brother.
not worth it.
Because I ain't met her yet, but I'm telling you, she'll rise up,
It's
honey.
not worth it.
But when we go back to just ending, let that be a part of something you're leaving on the table of redemption as well. Just like in a few words, or just give a shout out to your mom as well for her role in your life.
My mother Wakil is the hardest working person I've ever seen, and I think that the even if people's perception, they're like, oh, he went to boarding school, had these opportunities. Like, I've watched, and it's my mother wake up every day at 4 in the morning to voluntarily go to prison. She works what I mean, she's a corrections officer, for decades now. So to you have to be built different
Mm.
to do that, to voluntarily, literally, spend years of your life in prison voluntarily, and to make those sacrifices for me to be able to see the world, for maybe to me be able to see, get be able to have the shoes, or go to camps, or do things like that. And that's where, it's where my phrase, somebody got to do it. Like, it has to be done. I don't, and it drives me. I have no excuse. You know what I
Mm.
mean? My mother's waking up early every day to this day. So it can't be anything that I don't feel as though I should be able to do, or willing to sacrifice, because she instilled that value in me.
Oh, this is good. This is a good way to end this table of redemption right there. Because one thing that Emmanuel Wright said, who is on a previous podcast, that resilience and redemption is generational. Alexis, who's also an Intellectual Contribution Award winner, talked about how when it comes to redemption, you have to make room in your life for it.
Mhm.
Another thing that Emmanuel Wright says is that redemption doesn't have to be loud. And so what made me pick out in to your mom is because I could feel that it was a little bit more about you that was so unique that when trying to wrap this up, because I know me when I'm editing this,
Mhm.
I want to like, but there's one more thing.
Mhm.
And it feels like in my soul, I can rest right here and right here. I call this my soul right here. It depends on what I'm facing, right? But
Mhm.
when you painted that picture of your mom, and her name is
Wakila.
Wakila,
Yes.
this also goes back to one thing that he shared that we both were in Urban Scott's, Professor Urban Scott's Faith Education and Leadership, that Kazembe is Muslim and I'm Christian. But my name is Muslim because it came from my aunt. She's my cousin, but I call her my aunt, who's Muslim, who named me. So I had this long Muslim name, and then my parents just picked out this one for the that she could remember that day. And and it is very critical that we paint that picture too. One, make sure we have his mom mentioned, and but also his faith. That's critical. That's critical that this podcast captures the whole person. That's my goal. That is my goal of redemption. That maybe in times past people might have been scared to touch on that part, but because of the critical climate that we're in right now, but this is critical to me honoring his story, that he's not of the Christian faith. So even when he mentions God, I want to be very clear. He is mentioning God from the Muslim faith. We are able to connect because we have a mutual respect for one another. And I'm telling you, that's how it starts. And we need to continue to build more relationships out of that same spirit, that we can have rigor and kindness, but also a difference, which was a great concoction for how we are learning to change the world. So I will just say to you, as we end this podcast, it has been such an amazing time. I always leave by saying, I hope that you have been well fed from this table. I hope that you ordered what you wanted when you was at this table, but I hope that you mostly got what you needed from this table of redemption. When I call you to be on my podcast, I want to ask you the award-winning question. So what brings you to the table? The table of redemption. Whose life are you changing? Whose world are you changing? Matter of fact, what are you doing about your own world to make sure somebody even wants you in their life to be able to instruct them and guide them on their next right move? Because as my colleague, my baby brother, my fellow alumni of the Harvard Graduate School of Education says, baby, we are lifting as we climb. And resilience is, you just got to finish that thing. Execute. All right. Well, you go on and do great things with your day, and hope you are feeling well and okay. Rasheen Jamison-Richardson signing off. Bye-bye.
The Table of Redemption podcast disclaimers: views expressed, branding, and mutual benefit. The Table of Redemption podcast is part of the collaborative refinement phase of the Leadership Redemption Framework before it goes to market. This is a research-based initiative led by myself, Rasheen Jamison-Richardson, your host. Guest participation contributes to scholarly exploration through narrative inquiry and receives platform exposure in return. Rasheen, myself, do not receive financial compensation from guest appearances or their affiliated work. This project is not formally endorsed by Harvard University, Harvard Graduate School of Education, or any institution or any sponsorships at this time. Any reference to anyone's brand, including Harvard's brand, are solely based on my academic experiences as a graduate student and now an alumni. And I do not imply institutional affiliation or approval on any of the content that I am producing. This is all my original work, designed, built, and invented by me across a 20-year experience as an educator and practitioner and researcher. All stories remain the intellectual property of the guest and are shared with mutual respect, transparency, and the shared goal of building bridges of hope and redemption in times of crisis. To continue following the Table of Redemption podcast, you may visit www.thetableofredemption.com. You may be able to find our content on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.